comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar.
I don't know how I'm going to start this review. Point is that I saw some movies recently. Now, I don't think I need to introduce this. I'm sorry I make two of these back to back. But I stayed up late the last couple nights just watching Netflix films I had heard of and I hadn't seen the entire year. So I got four more. Not all these are Netflix. A couple of them are Amazon. But essentially, I'm just watching films that I haven't seen this year, just catching up. Since I already stay up to like midnight, why not spend that 2 hours I'm up watching a film? So now I've seen four more movies. Surprisingly enough, three of these movies I enjoyed all three of them. Fourth one is something special. Let's talk about all four. I'm not going to introduce them. Just let's get in here some more quick movie reviews, and then I'm not going to do another one of these videos for the foreseen future. I will make another one probably this year, but I have a lot of movies I gotta see in theaters like this weekend and the next weeks. So I'm probably not gonna make these for a while. But hey, let's get in. I might make an update video soon because I might need to really just update people on what's the channel's going through and how I have a lot of things planned. But let's jump into the first movie. So The Wandering Earth is a film I've heard about for months. This film was released in China. It's a Chinese blockbuster, essentially, so expectations aren't that high. Not that I'm against China, even though I am kind of. Their government kind of freaking sucks, but I'm probably like one of the very... It's weird that I'm like a 15-year-old and I actually probably know more about the way the Chinese government works than most adults. But point is that they make blockbusters, like really dumb blockbusters. It's like... to be clear, I don't know everything I know way more American releases than Chinese releases because there are more American releases than Chinese releases, and I can judge that by the fact that there is not a single Chinese film in the top 10 of the box office because American movies are more mass appeal worldwide. China loves big dumb blockbusters with big CGI, and that's what The Wandering Earth is. And I'd heard about this movie for months because this movie, oh my god, this movie, I hate this track right now. This movie was huge in China, like everywhere huge. This movie made like $700 million in China alone because think about the fact that Chinese blockbusters are in Chinese and only Chinese. So we Americans have to do our own dubbing for the film. Point is that, I don't know if actually we do our own dubbing for Chinese films. Point is that when Avengers Endgame gets released in China, it's more appealing to them. But like Wandering Earth, it does not go to America. Now, I find it weird to think that they even let an American film would play in China because it's a freaking communist country, but I guess they do. It's kind of weird. The international way of films doesn't really make any sense to me. It should make sense to me. I should learn that. But point is that this movie is a freaking dumb blockbuster. The premise is that the sun is going to engulf the Earth in 100 years, so we think, let's move the Earth to another solar system. That's really dumb. It's really dumb, but it's not bad. It's quite fun. It's very nice to look at. It's very much an eye candy film where I'm just like, oh, look at these. They're really good effects. Like, I didn't think I'd get good effects out of this one at all, but they look fake a lot. But the film always looks really good. I really like the polished, beautiful cinematography. It looks so good. The directing of this film was great. The script of the film is dumb, it's predictable at every turn, and that's kind of what I want to get out of a blockbuster. It has like this really cliche structure for a blockbuster, but this is one of those times where cliche is something I can appreciate. I like Avatar 2009. I don't think it's a very good movie, but I like it because it's so freaking just classic blockbuster. You have like let's save this hero, let's protect these people, switching motivations, really dumb CGI things, the government villains. It's just such a cliche blockbuster to the extent where it's fun. And the same would go for The Wandering Earth, where this movie is dumb, it's not good at all, but it is very entertaining in that extent that this movie is just fun. Let's look at the characters. They're not good. I mean, I think that that's not like the characters are boring, but there's like not a level of, there's barely any development in the film. They're just like thrown on screen because this film's very main focus is on the plot and just having big CGI and action, which I'm happy for that because these characters are pretty boring, but they're not really focused on, so it's not really a problem. Overall, I feel like this film knows what it is. At least to the extent where I just enjoyed it. I kind of have a guilty pleasure spot for this. It's not a good movie, but it's on the same par kind of like Hobbs and Shaw, where it's like, okay, that's not a good movie, but it is particularly dumb fun with a bunch of big CGI and spaceships and stuff. There's actually no spaceships in this movie, but there's some really dang cool effects. I'm gonna give The Wandering Earth a 7 out of 10. I Am Mother is a Netflix film. I went into this film with the lowest expectation. I mean, I didn't go into it with like any expectation, to be honest. I was just went to my phone. I was like, hey, what's a film that I have heard of that I haven't seen? Oh, I Am Mother. I remember that coming out in June. I'll watch it. I played it on my phone, and I freaking love this movie. I really think this is a really good movie. I think that the fact of the matter is with this film is that this film did not get very good reviews. Most of the people what is wrong with that cord? Most of the people I know weren't the biggest fans of it, and to be perfectly honest, I kind of need somebody to write a review, one of these, because like the two people who didn't enjoy the film I know on Letterbox, I'm forgetting their usernames, they switch all the time, they both just gave it 5 out of 10, and they didn't actually explain why they didn't like it. They just kind of wrote reviews, and they're just like, oh, it didn't make sense. I think this movie is genuinely brilliant. I don't think it's slow, but never too slow to the extent where it's boring. It is gorgeous. Oh my god, Netflix. Wow. Like, this is a Netflix original. It is better than most theatrical releases coming out today, and more beautiful than most. The visuals of this movie are amazing. The robot practical, it's all practical. If it's CGI, best CGI ever, but that's what I'm assuming is practical. It's amazing. And the general plot is very original. To that extent, I didn't expect it to be. This film is really good at developing. It's not like... The film doesn't ever... like, just bombard you with amazing visuals. It just tells the story. And let me just say, the world of this movie was so interesting. I was just locked in the film like 5 minutes in, because the film was so good at just getting you developing this world, developing what it is. Like, she's just locked in this, like, there's a normal human locked in this place with just this robot. And they're just stuck in this building, and they're just like... She's just learning life, and the robot continuously tells no, there's nothing out there, but she's like, oh, maybe there is something out there. A human eventually comes in. They learn. She basically starts to question her mother. That is, like, really well developed. You might have seen that before, but trust me when I say this film takes that, just brings out all the original adrenaline in the film. Let me just say, the film is also pretty intense. There are a lot of scenes in it where... you really don't know who you're rooting for, to be honest. Like, you're always rooting for the main character, obviously, but, like, sometimes you're wanting her to believe in the mother, the robot, and sometimes you're wanting her to believe in the human. Like, the human is the scruffy human that just ran to the building, but mother has done some questionable decisions. And I just loved the way that dynamic worked. I love the relationship that was presented between her and the main character and the robot. I'm forgetting all their names because they don't really have names, but the main character and mother, their relationship is so well done. Like, she really, like... I don't really want to talk too much about the plot of this film. All I want to say is that it's genuinely great. Even if you don't even know if you'll enjoy it, I highly suggest just checking it on Netflix. Because, heck, maybe you will think this is the best movie of the year. It's not my top 10 best, but certainly a really great movie. I did not expect to get that out of Netflix. I will give I Am Mother a 9 out of 10. Arctic is the film on this entire list I went into with the highest expectations. I expected to really like this movie. It stars Mads Mikkelsen. It is actually directed by a YouTuber, which is kind of cool. So this film is essentially a survival film in the Arctic. That's kind of what it is. Overall, it's really, really good. I would genuinely consider it great. I don't think this one was as good as I Am Mother, but, like... from that filmmaking standpoint, this movie is one of the best of the year. I cannot stress how beautiful... like, I keep saying this on all 3 films I've talked about. All 3 of them, their cinematography is just gorgeous. But this movie takes that cake. Of all these 3 thus far, this movie looks so amazing. I just was blown away by the visuals this film presented. I think the acting in this film is stellar. It is really amazing. Mads Mikkelsen is one of the best performances of the entire year. It is absolutely fantastic. This film was very... I love the way the film starts. It doesn't, like, show him, like, oh, like, we're going on a trip in this plane. Oh, plane, a crash, boom, in the snow. No, the film starts with him surviving, like, the beginning of his survival. He's sleeping in this crashed plane. All of a sudden, this other girl shows up, and she's basically unconscious for the entire film. And I've heard some people complain about the fact that she's in the film, because it's just like, oh, she's just an obstacle for him to go over. And personally, it didn't bother me. She doesn't really need to be in the film. But overall, I think it added some more stakes to the film. Geez, this movie has some, like, nail-biting tension. It gets really intense. Like, there are some sequences in this film, that, like, I was, like, sweat. Like, the fact is I'm watching this on a cracked phone screen under my blanket, just watching it at night, like at 12 a.m. And I'm watching it there, and I'm, like, sweating because it's so freaking intense. You know, my only problems with this film range from... I don't think this movie did anything wrong. I don't think this film, like, failed in any way, to be perfectly honest. I think the film's main thing, why I don't love it, is that the film's not going for you to love it. The film is going just to be a really good, really accurate survival film. It's not trying to be the best movie of the year. And whatever this film wanted to do, it succeeded to do. However, I'm not going to say just because the film has no problems, it's not automatically a 10 out of 10. Because this film doesn't reach for 10 out of 10. This movie is very well made and genuinely a great film. But I'm not going to go back and really reflect on this film all that much. There are other 2019 films that will stick with me for months. Rocket Man, The Peanut Butter Falcon, The Farewell, Joker, Avengers Endgame. Films like that are the films that, like, really stick with me for a while. I Am Mother is probably not going to stick with me either. I really love it, but I don't think it's going to stick with me. Neither is Arctic. None of the films thus far are going to stick with me, but... as it turns out, Arctic is pretty great. It's an amazingly well-done survival film. It's intense, and that polar bear scene is the scariest scene of the year. That includes the bombarding 3-hour runtime of It Chapter 2. I'm going to give Arctic an 8. Alright, praising time is over. Let's talk about Sextuplets. Let's rip this movie to shreds. I went to this film expecting to hate it. I shut off the film really hating it. This is the worst. I cannot believe it. This movie, if you read my Letterbox, my review for this film is just racism equals funny. That's literally all the review is. And it's because I don't really have to say anything. It's the same thing with Medea Family Funeral. What is there to say? This film is really, really... it is so unfunny. Like, I don't really think unfunny is actually a word. It's not funny. Never. Not a single joke got even, like, a grin out of me. Like, I expect some comedy. Sometimes I see a comedy, I'm like, like that. Sometimes I, like, have a briefish chuckle, but everything else sucks. Not a single chuckle out of me. This movie is so boring. The premise of the film is the title of the film. It's, like, the most middle school title ever. Like, and I'm in middle school, so I don't have any room to criticize. But middle school humor sucks. It's not funny. But, like, literally all, like, the writers were thinking when they're, like, literally, the film, I, like, am billing about $100. The film did not start out with this, let's make a touching story about somebody finding his family. And maybe they're not the best family, but he has to love them, and they're the family he's got. No, obviously, the film started with, hey, look, six, also, in Latin terms, I know this because I have to take a godforsaken Latin class. Sex means six. Or in the other way around, and if you want to look at English for six, is Latin for sex. Meaning that sex, a lot of the time, does mean six. So how funny is that that's also the term for sex? Like, how funny. Let's make a movie. And also sextuplets. Okay, so that's what 6 children in one womb would be called. Sextuplets. Look how funny that is. That's so funny. That's not funny. There's nothing funny about... No, who is gonna sit down, watch this film and get even a chuckle out of it? Like, nobody. Like, I don't see, like, middle schoolers wandering around Netflix watching this movie. They probably click it and probably get bored out of their mind for the first 5 minutes because it's not just a bunch of CGI in it. So it's not made for that demographic, even though the humor in the film is for that demographic. And most adults are probably just going to freaking hate this movie because it's so unbelievably unfunny. This movie is never funny, and it's also really freaking boring. Like I expect, it's like really weird when I'm talking about this movie, because I'm like, what did you expect? It's like, I started the film thinking I'm going to hate this. I finished the film thinking, well, I hated that. And there's no surprise in me hating it, because this film is dead on arrival. It's another one of those films that's just, like, this film, it is racist. It really is. I cannot believe some people claim other films are racist and don't literally point at something like any Tyler Perry film or this piece of garbage. Like, it's all just like the entire film is just black stereotypes. That's the entire film. And it's never creative. It's the same thing over and over again. The humor in this film is just terrible. And I don't even need to talk about the plot. The ending of this film is so unbelievably bad. Like, the entire last, 20 minutes make no sense. And it doesn't even care it makes sense. It feels like it knows it doesn't make any sense, but it's just trying to be funny by being completely outlandish and ridiculous, and it's falling on flat on its freaking face. What is there to say? What did you expect? This is one of the most unfunny movies I've ever seen. I swear, I cannot stand this movie. It is boring, unfunny, annoying. Every character is hateable. It's not Medea Family Funeral bad, but most films aren't Medea Family Funeral bad. I'm a freaking give Sextuplets a 1. Alright, I'm done. That's it. I'm not even going to make any announcements in this video because I'm making an announcement video in a couple days. Or maybe tomorrow. I don't know. I'll make a video giving my announcements of what's coming soon. So yeah.